Hey guys, and welcome. I'm Christine. Appreciate you so much for stopping by. I've got some quick thrift flips this week, and I hope you enjoy these. First one, I picked up the sign on clearance. You can see that little sticker there if you're familiar with Hobby Lobby and they're shopping, and they've got a bunch of stuff on clearance right now. So I picked up this little sign for just a couple of dollars. And I'm going to use some acrylic paint just because I didn't have in my chalk paint what I wanted. So just remember, you guys, you can always pull out your acrylic paints. If you're like me, you have a bunch of those from years past. They're still good. You can use it. And it's kind of a sienna color. And I'm kind of matching it to my transfer that I'm using. So I'm just going to do one good coat around the edges. I really didn't like the color of this wood look that they had, so that's why I'm covering that up. And then I'm coming in with my Waverly chalk paint in moss, and I'm going to cover, and it took 2 coats to cover up this love sign. Now, it did have some indentations in it where the love was written in, kind of inscribed into that MDF or whatever this is. But I'm going to use a transfer so it does cover that up. So just keep in mind, just check these out, the surfaces, see if it's flat. You might have to fill them in, or if you're covering them with a transfer, then you'll be fine. So I'm just kind of feathering it out to the edges with that chalk paint because I don't want to get it on the sides that I just painted the other color. Then I'm coming in with my transfer from IOD. This is the booklet, the seed catalog. I believe these are dahlias. If I'm wrong, y'all correct me, but I believe that's what these are. They are beautiful. The transfer itself, the whole transfer is a little large for my piece, so I just cut off the top. I used a piece of masking tape to help hold that down. I'm going to take that little transfer tool, start from one end. I'm starting from the bottom, one corner, and I'm going to transfer and pull as I go along. Now, I did not seal this, but lots of times I don't seal mine first. I usually don't have a problem. You're going to see as I work along here, one little piece did not transfer and it actually pulled up the paint. But we're going to salvage that little piece. So hang in here with me, and you're just going to see me working this transfer tool and laying down this transfer onto our project. IOD transfers are perfect. They have a nice feel to them, and I really do enjoy using them. But you can see here when I flip this back, you're going to see where it pulled up my green paint. Y'all, look at that. But we're going to fix that, so don't worry about that. It can be fixed. So I pulled out a little paintbrush, and I'm going to put in some extra paint in that little divot there. So I'm just going to work that up, and I just did 2 coats again to cover that. Now, if it did too bad, you might have to sand it a little bit, but it's fine. Now, here's my little transfer piece. I've cut that down to size so I can work with it. And it was the ST for street for like a fake address for where this little store is supposed to be where you can buy your seeds at. So I'm using my wet wipe, and I'm just pulling off that paint. Now, with transfers, you do have to use a good bit of force to get them down. So, see, I just pulled off that paint, and I am going to lay my transfer down. You see how clean I got that paint off of there? You can see the ST. I'm going to line that up, use my transfer tool. No problems this time. I'm not sure if it's because I used the hair dryer and I'm just kind of rushing my paint drying. I'm not sure. A lot of people seal theirs before they put the transfers down, but I've had problems with that peeling. So, sometimes your crafts just don't work all the way out. But once it got through, you can't tell that I had to make that little adjustment there, and we're good to go. This is finished. Hey, project number 2, you guys. Hang in there with me. Now, this one really is quick. So I've picked up at a flea market 2 of these little, I'm going to call them a bottle cap tray. Not sure what it really is. Y'all let me know if you know. I'm thinking something for, I don't know. Anyhow, it had little feet on it. I did not add those, but I love them. They're like this heavy tin. I'm only going to paint the inside. I did 2 coats of, that is Dixie Belle Fluff. That's a nice white, but it's not too stark. But I'm going to use decoupage paper, so I do want that crispness on the back of my paper. Now, this paper I picked up from Amazon, and look how cute it is. But I was concerned when I got it because it's very, very wrinkly, and I thought maybe I need to, like, iron it. I don't have one of those little mini heat presses yet. I'm going to get me one, but I don't have one. I've got actually one on order now. But when I laid it down, all the wrinkles came out. So it's like a rice paper, I guess. So I was able to get all the wrinkles out. So I'm just positioning it in there how I wanted it. And of course I wanted the word dreamer in there. And I'm just taking what little bit of a nail I have and running along the edge to make me a little pattern to cut out. Use my scissors, just cut just beyond those lines. And then in the end, I did have to come back and use my X-Acto knife to kind of clean up the edges a little bit because I'm not going to embellish anything. I wanted to make this quick and easy, and it's beautiful on its own. It really didn't need anything. I'm using my DIY liquid patina to lay this down. Of course, you're going to put some on the back, and I use like a starter strip, maybe a third of the paper I lay down, and then of course I'm going to use the liquid patina on top. I did not have to use a brayer. I just simply used my fingers just to work that paper down, and it laid perfect. And then this is done, but y'all look how cute. You can certainly paint the whole thing if you wanted to, but I just like the inside and leave that galvanized metal look on the outside. Let me know what you think of this one. Quick and easy, right? Alright, project number 3. I picked up these little cast iron skillets. I had made over one for Easter, with a little Easter bunny, and it's so well in my booth. So I've picked up another. I'm going to go back and get some more too. These are so cute. Now, it had some rusting all around the bottom, and I did not clean that out completely. I just took a wet wipe, cleaned that out, and let it dry. I am liking the look of it being worn and aged, so I'm not going to clean that up completely. Taking out my lover of flowers, that's the spring release transfer from IOD, and I picked out this lovely little tea rose, so I'm just going to cut that out, and it's going to run up the edges of my little pan, and that's fine with me. So, but just know that it's harder to lay transfers in, so I do cut some slits around those edges that are going up. That just helps me be able to control that vellum paper a little bit more and to get it in. Now, I had a heck of a time getting this transfer down. I did not seal my piece first. I don't know if that would have helped, but I'm just thinking because of all the texture on this pan is why it took a lot of work and with that transfer tool to get it down. But I eventually got it down, and now on the rose part on the petals, I did have a good bit of little cracking. But I just kind of went with it because I thought that looked more like what would happen naturally when it aged. You know, your petals would start to fall off. You could see there was some cracking there. But I left that. And of course, I've got that good little, you know, where it's the pan's aged so much anyhow. I'm not worrying with that. I did have a piece that didn't come off my sheet, and so you can always lay these down and put it back in there. So, but I thought it was lovely. I'm just going to take some antiquing wax and go over the top, just more for an aged effect. And you can age your transfers as well with some antiquing wax, brown wax. That just helps to blend it in, and so it doesn't look so fresh and new. Just take my paper towel, wipe it off to my liking, let my piece dry. I'm going to style it for you guys, and this one's done. What do you think of this one? Do you like that the cracks are around the petals, or would you like it more of a perfect look? Okay, y'all, a fourth and final project. I picked up this boat paddle. Actually, I think my husband bought this home from somewhere, but I have found a few at a flea market. This thing has seen its better days, y'all. Look at this. Somebody's tried to paint it, make it a little bit better, but I am just simply going to use my hands around the edges to pull some of that old paint off. I'm going to use an art palette to get up under there and pull some off. It was bubbling a little bit. I'm going to use a sanding block, and I'm also going to use an X-Acto knife because on the handle it had some bumps and lumps on it. So I am not concerned with getting this thing completely flat and even. I'm going to embrace this well-worn look a little bit. Now, if you want it flat and even, you're just going to take your orbital sander and work on this thing, maybe some strip ease, get all that paint off, but I'm really not concerned with that. I don't mind the imperfections. Y'all know me. I kind of like it looking a little worn, a little crusty, so I'm not going to take it all the way down to the original wood. Then I'm just going to come in with my Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Fluff. And I'm just going to do one good solid coat all over with this. Like I said, I am not looking for a full coverage, perfect finish. I am looking for something a little worn, a little used. So I'm just doing one good coat on here. Then I'm going to use a different technique on each side of that paddleboard there. So this is going to be interesting. First off, I am going to be taking my IOD stamps, and that is in the collection Rule Scenes. I love this. They're so beautiful. It's 2 full sheets, and they are loaded down with old rural scenes. It's got some cattle on there, puppy dogs, men, but this is a boat paddle, so I'm looking for water, and it's got a nice big pond section on there with some gentlemen out in the boat fishing. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to use a little cabin, some ducks flying over, and a tree on the side. So I'm just going to take that's China Blue IOD ink, a beautiful color because, again, we're going for the water theme here, so I like the blue. And I'm just taking my mount sheet here and figuring out what'll fit. And really all that would fit on this section is going to be that water with the boat and the ducks. So I took the other ones off. And I'm just going to lay those down individually because you don't have to mount anything. Mount just keeps it situated so when you line it up, that's what your little thin mount sheet is going to do for you. So I'm just taking my stamp pad and pressing it down. Now, if you get any outside of the inking surface, just take your wet wipe and wipe that back. Make sure you lay it down going straight down. It may get a little movement. Just try not to get too much movement. Just always remember you can take it off and simply wipe it off with a wet wipe and redo it again. So hold one hand steady, take your other hand, your fingers, and work that around, then pull it straight up. I did have one section I did have to come back after it dried, put a little more ink, line it up, and get some more ink in there. You can see we're kind of on that other little boat. It wasn't fully covered, so I did come back and correct that a little bit, and that's the perfect thing about these stamps. You can line them up again. So I'm just taking my tree, and I'm going to do the same method with the cabin, just laying those down simply with my finger, not putting on a thin mount for those. I'm going to let that side dry real well. Then I'm going to flip it over to the other side, and we're going to do a stencil. So I've got the stencil that says Lake Life, and it's got all kind of things on it that pertain to the beach, to the lake, whatever, but I'm simply using the words Lake Life. I'm going to come in with, this is Nautical by Folk Art. This matches pretty closely to that IOD China Blue and keeps with the nautical theme here. And I'm simply going to use a stippling, pouncing, circular motion to get this ink down in there. So just don't put it too heavy on your brush. You can see I kind of took some off by pushing against the sides, and then pull it straight off whenever you get through. This rope I found, or ribbon, well, it's not really a ribbon, I guess this is a rope, I don't know. But I found it at Hobby Lobby on clearance. Always check the clearance section, especially for your ribbons. They really have some great prices when they reduce those things down. And I'm not going to show you everything, but I'm just going to use my hot glue gun on the end and put that ribbon down just to add a touch to the end. And y'all, look how beautiful this is to be displayed in somebody's little lake house, little lake cabin. That is so daggone cute. Let me know what you think of this week's projects. I appreciate you guys so much. Smash that subscribe button. Until next time, bye-bye.